Good evening. I would like to call the Monday, October 21st, 2024 Board of Education meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. We will begin with the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Tremper, would you please read the mission statement?
I will, thank you. The Orange Elementary School District recognizes that the education of each child is the shared responsibility of every member of our community. Our goal is to inspire and empower each student to achieve academic excellence, embrace social and individual responsibility, and lead with integrity. We believe all individuals should be valued and treated with respect. Together, we will make a difference.
Thank you for that. Do we have any public participation this evening? No one would like to speak tonight? Okay. Okay, we will move on to our consent agenda. I will need a motion to accept the first item under the consent agenda. The first item is the minutes from the September 16th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes from the September 16th, 2024 Board of Education meeting? Betty? Carmen? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Okay. Did you get all that? Okay. Presentations. Tonight we have our technology update by Neil Armstrong. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to present our technology updates. This is kind of a quick overview of who we... Are you able to hear me? Are you able? Oh, sorry. Better? Okay. This is kind of an overview of everything that we do in technology, who we are, who we service, and some projects that we work on throughout the year. We are a staff of 4. We are all cross-trained so that we can send our techs to any school so that there is no issue that none of our guys can handle. We're centrally located here at the Board of Education. In fact, our offices are right behind the stage over here. And we're right in the middle of all the schools. And like I said, this allows us to quickly get out to the schools and support our staff and students. Some of the issues that we come across in technology services throughout the school year are things like connectivity issues with interactive panels, wireless network issues, break fix Chromebooks, program issues, phone issues, things of that nature. If a parent or a staff member wants to place a support ticket, they can reach us at sending an email to techsupport@orange-ed.org. When they do that, a support ticket is going to go into our ticketing system, which is Incident IQ. It's an all-in-one ticketing system. What will happen is the ticket will come in to our queue. All of our techs have this program open on their laptops and desktop throughout the day. And when they don't have their laptops readily available, they do have their smartphones, which we have the app for Incident IQ on it. So if we're out at a school and we don't have our laptop, we can still go in and check our tickets and make sure that we're supporting our staff and students. This is an all-in-one type of a system. So it has our ticketing system, but it also has an inventory system that allows us to upload all of our device serial numbers, and we can put our devices into there. It's an asset management as well, so that we can assign devices to students and staff. and that allows us to better track. So, for example, if a teacher were to place a support ticket for a student who has a broken screen on their Chromebook, they just need to send an email and give us the number of the Chromebook, and we know who that Chromebook belongs to, what student, and what location it's in. It also has a scheduling feature that allows us to schedule for our software renewals, which we do throughout the school year. It also allows us to print reports, and we can use that tool to look at any problematic trends within our district, whether it be device or location, and help us to better service our district and our schools. Oops, I think I jumped too far, way too far, I'm sorry. There we go. Shifting our focus a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about our website for all of our families at home. You can reach us on the web by going to www.oess.org. The OESS stands for Orange Elementary School System. And you can see by the screenshot, we have some pretty vibrant colors and fonts and pictures. We are ADA compliant, that is the Americans with Disability Act, and again, we're compliant there. One of the cool things about technology and our website is in the upper right-hand corner, we have this translate tool that is powered by Google. And we have many different families in our district that speak different languages. So when they go to our website, we try to make it easy for them to navigate through, so they can log on here, not log in, but they can go to our website, click the drop-down message, and then select their native language. And what's cool about that is also follow them throughout the website. And Google has over 240 different languages programmed in there, which is, again, a pretty cool feature. One of the main sites that our families will go to is the Family Resources page. It's right there in the center of every web page. It's right next to our Orange Public Schools, as you can see. And when they click on it, a parent is going to come to this page, and it has many different links. These are a lot of the links that our parents use throughout the year. So if you're looking for a lunch menu, you can click on that lunch link, or bus information, school calendar. One of the other important links that a parent will click on is the Power School link. When they click on this, this will take them to their Power School portal login page. And it'll be a page similar to this. When they log in here, they'll have you can see their children in the upper left if they have one or more, and they can click on the child's name and toggle between the different children that they have. On the left, you see they got a menu. So if you're looking for grades and attendance, they can click on that link, and it will take them to the grades and attendance. There are a couple of links I want to focus on real quick. One is the forms link. So if we have, for new parents that are going through the enrollment process or the registration process, they will start that registration process, log into their Power School account. They'll go here to our forms, and they can click on these e-forms, which are enrollment forms for new students. Once they click on them, they can add their information in, fill out the questions. Once they click that submit button, our administrative assistant at the school will get email notification for verification. She'll take a look at all the information, and she will then go ahead and process that and get this into our system. For parents who have children who are returning, a student that's been here for 2 or 3 years, or even just last year, they will get our forms, which are returning student forms. And what they are is if over the summer you've moved or have a different email address, phone number, or a child has a different doctor, they can go in and fill out those forms. Again, once they click that submit button, the administrative assistant will get that notification. She'll process it and update all of their information. The other link is the student reports link. So that link parents use about 3 times a year. And that's typically when report cards come out at the end of the trimester. Speaking of trends in our incident IQ, Tech support notices an uptick in tickets that parents put in because they forget their username and password. So usually right after that trimester ends, the parent will email us to say, I can't get into my account. So for parents at home, maybe take the time over the next couple of days, try logging into your PowerSchool account. If you get an error message, you can click on the forget a password message. And if that doesn't work, you can always send an email to techsupport@orange-ed.org, and we'll get you set up so that the day the report cards are released, you'll be able to get in and get your child's report card. This link is called the Safe Schools Tip Line. This is pretty important. It falls in line of the if you see something, say something. So if you've got a child at school that's seeing things happening, or if you're just a parent or a guardian and you're around the schools and you see maybe a car or something just doesn't feel right, you can anonymously or non-anonymously go to this report tip line, type it in, and it'll go and it will be investigated. Over the summer, we have a new alert notification system. Previously, we used Swift K-12, but Swift K-12 does not do alert notifications any longer, not just for Orange Public Schools, but for any school district in Connecticut. So lots of school districts have shifted from Swift K-12. We opted to go with School Messenger. School Messenger is part of our part of the PowerSchool family, and like I said, our main student information system is PowerSchool. So the transition and migration from Swift K-12 to School Messenger was fairly easy and simple. And what this program does is just what it says it does. It's emergency notices. So when you've got school closures or early dismissals or late starts, you're going to get an email via phone. You're going to get a notification via phone, text, or email from your school or the district letting you know. You'll also get some general correspondence from your school, like the school newsletters and stuff like that. And this is the mechanism and how they will correspond with families. Some of the projects that we work on over the summer are state reporting, PowerSchool roll-up. Other pieces are getting new equipment in. With the assistance of the board and Dr. Scarpetti, we've been able to update our Chromebook fleet about a grade or so a year at a time. So as we get these new devices in, they have to be configured to work on our network. Configuring a Chromebook can take one of our techs 5 to 7 minutes. That's without any interruptions. We came across this new piece of technology. We've had it for about 2 years now. It's called GoBox. We take about 10 minutes to configure that GoBox, put it down on the table, plug the Chromebooks in, and it will configure 16 Chromebooks at a time. It takes about 3 minutes to configure those Chromebooks. So it's extremely cost efficient and time saving considering all the other stuff that we do in the summer. Like I said, PowerSchool roll-up, summer school, state reporting. So it really enables us to get a lot done over the summer in a short period of time. Throughout the summer, with a securities grant that we got, we were able to replace all of our external cameras with new 4K high-resolution cameras. We also were able to get some servers, recording servers for each one of our schools to help manage all of the video that is coming in. We continue to look to upgrade our cameras and remove legacy, outdated cameras, and also look to making sure that we have enough coverage in all of the areas in our district and schools to make sure that our staff and students are safe while they're at school. Staying on the topic of security, we continue to train our staff in regards to phishing emails and keeping their data safe. We send out about 3 or 4 campaigns a year. These are video tutorials that help staff recognize what a suspicious email will look like and what to do when they get them. The first thing would be, to make sure not to click on any links, but to also reach out to tech support and report it. It's extremely important. We're investigating a network audit, IT network audit, and that will allow us to, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I have this right, identify opportunities to help improve our network security. That's pretty important. It'll help safeguard against cyber attacks and stuff along that nature. Like I said, we're just investigating it now.
Neil, before you go on,
Whoops, jump back.
Part of the piece about the cybersecurity training, it's not just those elements, but we actually test our staff. So it's not from someone who's trying to break through our walls. It's the technology department giving us a fake email after they've been trained, right, Neil? That
Yes,
you
so-
test it out and
Yep,
see if
so-
people have learned or if we
Yeah,
could show them.
so we have, we use a program again, so we'll train them first, and then we'll send out this fake email, typically at the worst times of the year, because that's when criminals will try to attack. So we'll send it out right around Christmas time with gift cards and stuff, and we'll see what the teachers have learned. So we get that data back, and we can then present it and sit down and talk about it, figure out how we're going to do to make sure that, again, they're not falling for these fake emails and spoofing and phishing attacks. Thank you, sir. We also use programs, and the middle picture there shows a firewall appliance that protects us from viruses, spyware, and cyber attacks. We use GoGuardian program on our Chromebooks, and what that does is it blocks all of the inappropriate web content and advertisements that children could see on their Chromebooks. It also has a really cool feature so that if a Chromebook is lost or misplaced, somebody can just notify tech. We'll get the serial number. We can activate a recovery agent that's on it. And it's actually really good. It can basically find that Chromebook within 90 feet of where it is. So, and again, once we're notified of it, we turn that feature on or activate that feature, and we can track it down. We also use the BARC program, and that helps for in-school threats. So what BARC does is it scans documents for specific words, student documents and emails for specific words or terms that may be considered cyberbullying or self-harm. The principal will get an email, and then they will act accordingly as they need to. We continue to use our single sign-on for our staff and students. And what this does is it has a repository of all of our approved programs that the teachers use and the students use throughout the year. So the staff will log in to their accounts. They'll take into this repository, and then they can go in and click on whatever program that they want to, and it will automatically log them in. It's a huge time saver. For children pre-K through grades 2 who aren't quite there yet with their typing skills, we use these cue cards, or the quick cards. So they take this quick card, hold it in front of the Chromebook webcam, and that will log them in to the ClassLink portal, just like their upperclassmates. If you can imagine a kindergarten teacher with 18 students having to walk around and manually log in each children, it really cuts down on learning time as well as teaching time. So this device, this piece of technology really allows those younger students to learn, and affords the teacher the time to teach. We have our 5-year budgeting plan. What we try to do is make sure that we're budgeting and being fiscally responsible in terms of what we use in technology and for budgeting for our programs and things like that. We also will use our budget for network and infrastructure upgrades as well as hardware. A good example of this if we can run a report in our incident IQ on our equipment, we could tell that maybe we've got a couple of teachers that, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 teachers whose laptop is becoming end of life. It's getting kind of old. I can budget 2 years out for maybe 3 laptops each year. Do it incrementally. That keeps the cost down and keep our budget from ballooning out of control. So again, it's making sure that our technology is up to date while being fiscally, financially responsible. That is all I have right now. Thank you, everybody, for allowing me to nervously tell you what is going on in technology. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have at this time, and if I don't have the answer, I will get it for you as quickly as I can.
Let me just say, I think you might have missed one slide, and I think it's a slide of your entire team on what a great job they do, because I read in Dr. Scarpetti's report, monthly report, on how you guys crush the tickets. I mean, it's amazing how many tickets you guys complete. It's amazing.
We're averaging somewhere around 300-plus tickets a month,
And there's
sometimes
and it's
more.
just the 4 of you, so.
Yeah, and
So that's amazing.
the guys are very smart, and we try to close out the tickets as quickly as we possibly can, while making sure we're not having any reoccurring tickets come up. So we really try to solve the problems that happen. Some of the tickets are easy, some of them are harder, but yeah, the guys are great, for sure.
No, that's great. Quick question, the incident IQ, I'm just
Yep.
curious, do you know if that's only for school districts to use, or is it also for enterprise-level businesses?
I do not know offhand.
I'm just curious.
No,
if you
that's
know.
okay, but I can find out for you, for
Okay.
sure.
You'll let me know too when you find it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, okay. And the school messenger program that you're using now?
Yep.
It seems to work good with getting out the messages on a timely manner?
Yeah, we haven't gotten any support tickets saying that there's been any issues or anything like that.
Okay.
At the beginning of August, for the opt-in, there's an opt-in text piece for the alert. So at the beginning of August, our principal sent our parents and guardians an email saying that you're going to be getting this opt-in text. When they got it, they weren't surprised or wondered what it was. They were able to opt in to the texting portion. But for any parents who didn't get that, they can reach out to their school administrative assistant and let them know they didn't get it. The administrative assistant will be able to help them, or they can just as easily send an email to techsupport@orange-ed.org, and we'll be able to make sure that everybody has opted in for that if they'd like to.
All right. And the last comment is, great job on the website, because when I had my boys in the school system, we didn't have all those beautiful links accessible like that. We had to hunt and peck a lot more. So
We appreciate,
so
we try to.
Good job on that.
We try to accommodate the parents and make it as easy as possible for them to navigate through the website and make things easier. Just, if I'm looking for bus information, I'm going to click on the link that says bus information, so
Yeah, no, good work.
thank you very
Anyone?
much.
Good.
Neil, I want to tell you how great of a job you did. Your slides were easy to read. I understood you did a great job explaining it, so thank you for letting us know what we're doing in the school. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Go ahead, Betty.
First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. I just have a couple of questions. I guess I'm kind of old school, so I'm just wondering, I know you have a staff of 4. Has there been any thought of having one person be housed in each building? Because I would think it gets a little not fun sitting in that little room back there for the whole school day.
So our techs are pretty much out at the schools all day, every day. The latter part of the afternoon is when we're back there and we're all putting our heads together. If we assign a tech to one school, they don't get to see some of the different issues that are happening at other schools. That's part of our cross-training mechanism, so or that we have in place. It allows us to see a little bit of everything from every school. Also, if you look at it from a security standpoint, if I put one of our techs in one school, if we have to cover for a student who is out sick, you now have a stranger. Even though he's a tech, he looks like a stranger in the building because our staff and our students don't recognize him.
Okay.
So, by doing that, people recognize all of our text. They know who we are as we walk through the building, and I think that's kind of important.
All right.
But thank you for asking. I
that
appreciate
answer.
it.
And I'm also wondering, due to the age of our buildings, is there any schools that have more tickets because of the age of the building and the infrastructure inside the buildings?
I'd
Or
have
have you
to-
noticed that? I don't know.
Well, I'd have to look, so during the monthly updates, I will list a number, I'll give a number of how many tickets that we have for each school, but I'd have to go back into Incident
Okay.
IQ
Well, I just
and
wonder if there's
see.
anything to do with the age of the buildings, having anything to do with the number of tickets. And lastly, you said that the age of the teacher laptops, you look to see, you know, when they need to be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking for a personal basis. I mean, I have an 11-year-old laptop that seems to be working just fine, but
Yes.
would you consider that out of date?
Very,
Very.
very out of date.
Okay.
Sorry. So,
Smart answer.
so in.
So I should
in-
be getting a new one.
In
Okay.
technology life, 3 to 5 years.
Yeah,
But
okay.
when you start looking at budgetary and, you know,
yeah.
we're a small district.
Right.
Sometimes you gotta push it a little bit, maybe 5 to 7.
Right,
You know, but after that, you gotta stop being concerned about security patches and stuff
Mm.
like that, because as they start to get end of life, they no longer receive those security patches, and now we're kind of exposed. So we want to make sure that we're up to date in our technology that we can.
And for those of you that are interested, especially any new board members, on our site, we have our long-range plan, and on the building and grounds, there's a link to the technology one where it shows the rotation of what we focus on. And that's something we look at and update with regarding not just our Chromebooks, but any of our devices.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Ganner?
Hi, I just have two quick questions.
Yep.
The first one regarding School Messenger. If a parent has not opted in to receive the text, they'll still receive that message via email, is that right?
They'll still receive it via email and phone. The text, I believe you have to opt in for. It's, a lot of our parents opted in for Swift K-12, but because it's a new system, they have to opt in all over again. So if there is a parent, like I said, if there's a parent out there that wants to make sure that they're getting those text messages because they're not getting the phone call or they can't readily access their email, the text is something that you should definitely get. And if you're not getting it and you want to opt in, like I said, you can reach out to the school administrative assistant or to tech support, and we'll make sure that you're opted in, especially before, you know, bad weather starts rolling around.
Okay. And my second question is regarding the anonymous tip line.
Yep.
Who does that tip go to, and how quickly does that person respond regarding it?
So I know that it hasn't been used a lot. I know that it goes to Dr. Scarpetti, it goes to myself and the senior tech member, and it goes to the police.
So the three of us, so
Yeah.
myself, the police, and Neil.
Thank
So
you.
if we get it pretty close, again, it hasn't been used often, but when it has, we address it fairly quickly.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Anyone else? Anthony?
Also wanted to echo their sentiments. This was a great presentation. Thank you. Just a quick question on the BARC software. Were there any privacy concerns if it's scanning documents? I wasn't sure how that worked.
To the best of my knowledge, no, but I will look into that more for you, and I will get all the information I can on that, just to make sure that we should be all set, because it would have been something that was vetted prior to us getting that. But I'll make sure to get all that information for you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You can tell he's an IT guy. Ken?
Sadly, I can relate better to the parents who forget their password. But I appreciate you stepping outside of your comfort level to address it. It's very interesting.
Thank you.
Anyone else down there? Good, good. We're all good? All right.
I hope my nerves didn't get the best of me, and thank you. I do appreciate it.
No, great job. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Very informative. Okay, we are going to move on to our superintendent's report. Dr. Scarpetti.
So again, Neil's going to excuse himself, and as he does, again, I want to extend the thoughts, again, of what a great job they're doing. We've changed so much as a district. We were, I think, a 2-to-1 district when I first arrived here 10 years ago, 1-to-1 now, meaning every student has their device dedicated specifically to that child. I think about a variety of things with regards to even during the pandemic, of how the group quickly responded to get the Chromebooks out to parents. I think about our 6th grade promotion ceremony where we want to make sure our parents and families had access. I don't know if they were hoping that would stop afterwards, but I asked them to continue that because there's a lot of families that actually can't attend these events, may it be another state or because of their mobility issues. But again, thank you, Neil and the team for all that you do.
You're welcome, sir. Just so that you're aware, we do get a lot of people a lot of parents that go on to view those graduations. I think we had over 300 parents at MLT.
Oh, wow.
200 at Racebrook, 100 or so at Peck Place, and then I think just under 100 at Turkey Hill. So
Yeah,
there are
so-
a number of views for that.
So you know what that means. I'm going to ask you to keep on doing it.
We're going to keep on doing it and try to find better ways to continue to do that. for
Awesome.
the
Thank you,
families.
Neil. Have a great night. Appreciate it.
Thank you again.
So on with my report. Again, good evening, everyone. Happy autumn to all of you. Before I continue of events that are going to be occurring in the future, I just want to take a quick note of thanking our bus drivers. On October 9th, we recently organized the Bus Driver Breakfast to express our gratitude to our dedicated transportation team for their role in safely transporting our students. And more than that, these are the connections that they create with families. And it's interesting because it's happened generational now of the families that have had the same bus driver, so thank you. Parent-teacher conferences, it's that time of year when we conduct parent-teacher conferences. Tomorrow and Thursday have been designated as earlier release days to accommodate these meetings. Our teachers and staff have been diligently preparing and eagerly looking forward to discussing their students' progress with parents. I also want to remind parents, this shouldn't be a one-time event, meaning, yes, you get to meet your child's teacher face-to-face, but if there's ever an issue or concern, please reach out here. We're not just here for parent-teacher conferences, we're here throughout the whole entire year. At your seat, you'll see a flyer. We are having a math day at all our 1 to 6 schools. Please, if you're able to make it, it's a great event. Please reach out to Darlene Williams and we'll make the arrangements of whatever school you like to attend. Again, that's Racebrook, Peck, or Turkey Hill, of what works best for you. Our schools are currently conducting their first safety security meetings for the school year. We conduct 3 such meetings each year. The purpose of these meetings is to review our safety and security plans and procedures and make adjustments when necessary. We are also conducting our first lockdown drills of the year in collaboration with our Orange Police Department. We have completed 3 schools and will conduct our final drill later this week. I want to express our gratitude to the Orange Police Department and Fire Marshal's Office for their assistance. And I know there's been a notice that I've shared with the board in the past and in the board update that we've been looking for a school security officer. We've hired one, so now we have 5. So we're going to use that person as extra support at different schools and at evening events when needed. This person happens to be a retired state trooper, and look forward to having him join. So if you see a new face, that's the gentleman who'll be joining us, and we're excited to have him join Orange. Our winter advisory letter, as Neil mentioned, that school messenger, this is when we typically need it, is during this winter months. That letter will be going at the end of the month. Paper Shred Day is Saturday, October 26th, so this Saturday, starts at 9. Please come and join us. I usually volunteer that day, but I would like to shout out to the Orange Recycling Committee and Rotary for their support. And again, come if you have any papers to get rid of. Now going on to the holiday, we have the Volunteer Fire Department will hold their Haunted Firehouse right over here on October 28th and 29th from 7 to 9:30. Please note this is typically for ages 11 and up. If you're under 16, you need to be accompanied by an adult. Our Halloween parades are going to occur October 31st. If you'd like to join us, please email Darlene and we'll make sure that the principals know. We shared this last month that we started to send a letter out to our principals, directors, but the budget process for 2025 and 2026 has begun. Budget collection letters were sent out to principals and directors on September 30th, and the final budget drafts are due back from budget holders October 31st. Coming up next month, we have our 24-25 calendar draft. Just as a reminder, draft visions are first shared with our leadership team and the Orange Teachers League before they are presented to the board in November for review. The board will then have an entire month to look at it for themselves and until it's finally proposed and adopted in December. So you'll have time to voice your thoughts and opinions regarding the school calendar. The Connecticut State Department of Education, I have a few updates regarding that. As you, or most of you may be aware, we had the Increasing Educator Diversity, the IED plan. We submitted it. I shared that we didn't hear back from them. We finally heard back from them, and they stated that they never received it. We stated and shared an email with them of a date stamp that they received it. We haven't received feedback from that plan as of yet. We did submit the Connecticut Leader and Educator Growth and Support Model. We did receive feedback. We responded to that, and we're waiting for their final say with regards to that. And I know Mr. Ziman is going to comment during his report, but we did meet with the state, and what I mean by we, Mr. Ziman as Chair of Curriculum and Instruction, Representative Wieslander, and Dr. Russo and I, we went to the state. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to Mr. Ziman and Representative Wieslander, and especially to Dr. Russo. She spent a considerable amount of time preparing for a meeting that I appreciate it, but I don't think it was actually needed with regards to what we're doing here. But she's spent an inordinate amount of time preparing for that. She did an excellent job, but I know Mr. Ziman is going to be following up with regards to that meeting. Also extending out to the Lions Club. Betty, I can't remember how many years this started, but the Lions Club does an eye screening. They began at schools, they're not finished yet, but I'd like to extend my gratitude to Mrs. Hadlock and the rest of the Lions Club volunteers with regarding the eye screening. And then with building and maintenance, our contractor was on site at each of the school recently to conduct the annual boiler maintenance in anticipation for the heating season. There were no issues found during the inspection and the cleaning process. The boilers were turned on this past week, and maybe you've noticed on the walk up here, maybe some of them were turned on too high. But other than that, I'd like to end Mr. Cap of just welcoming Amanda Zapatka. Mrs. Zapatka, I want to thank you. I've shared this before with you. This is not an easy choice of volunteering for the Board of Ed. I'm not sure, I've never said this, other people have said this, out of any board, this consumes most of the time of any volunteer who does this. So I appreciate you reaching out, participating in the community, and giving your time other than where else it could be needed to serve the board. So thank you and welcome to the board. And that ends my report.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Scarpetti? Run it.
Hi, Dr. Scarpetti.
Hi.
Do you happen to have the dates of the Veterans Day ceremonies at the schools?
I actually do.
That's great, thank you.
It is, they are November 11th. They're at all schools, specifically Peck Place, Racebrook, and Turkey Hill. They begin at 9 a.m. Again, notices will be going out to the board if you're able to join. And again, this is the Veterans Day celebration. Thanks for asking.
Susan?
One thing I just wanted to note that the SSO that you just brought in was in our prior budget. So from a finance perspective, just noting that we had all agreed on that we needed another one, and I'm glad we got him.
Correct.
Thank you.
Betty?
I was just going to ask, and maybe this is not the right time to ask, is there any information on the facilities review, or is that something, I know, I
They're
don't see
actually
Mr. Gray here today. So-
Yes, it's not much I could give you, but we did receive information that The first draft we should receive next week.
Oh,
And so when we receive that, I believe that part of the first draft is sitting down with Mr. Gray and myself to go over a few questions, just clarifying questions. And then, of course, we'll report to Building and Grounds and to the rest of the board.
thank you.
Was that 1 week or 2 weeks?
Next week.
It is next week? Okay, I thought it was 2 weeks. Okay. Any other questions?
I just have one comment, and I could be totally wrong about this. I could swear Racebrook's Veterans Celebration was the 8th of November, but you have the 11th for everyone?
I have the 11th, but we could
Okay,
look at that.
I thought I just read it, but I could be wrong.
Ms. Williams, if you wouldn't mind just making a note, let's confirm that.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any other questions before we move on? No? Okay. Dr. Russo, please.
Good evening. I'd like to share that our teachers have been engaging in foundational language comprehension professional learning sessions. These sessions are provided in small grade level groups at each of the schools, and by November 20th, just in time for our next Curriculum Wednesday, all teachers should finish with the first round of these sessions. And so everyone will be able to engage in tasks to support our students with processing of complex informational texts, such as what we have in our new social studies resources. And these tools and strategies that we're learning about will also help support the building of background knowledge and the semantic networks or breadth and depth of vocabulary related to the background knowledge. And this is especially important since approximately 50 to 60% of the variance in comprehension is related to vocabulary. And that vocabulary is so tightly aligned to the background knowledge. In addition, I did want to share that aspects of language comprehension include background knowledge, language structures such as semantics and syntax, verbal reasoning and inference generation, and print concepts such as text structures. And so that's what we've really been focusing on. And then integrating the language comprehension with the word recognition skills to unlock the reading comprehension. And just as another reminder, language comprehension impacts, language development impacts language comprehension, which impacts reading comprehension and effective communication, written and oral. And so this work is very closely aligned to our district goal for this year. And the teachers have been really doing an amazing job at these sessions. And finally, we have a draft of our Election Day agenda already set. It's been reviewed by the leadership team, and it's been linked to our professional learning calendar. So you all have access to that, and you can see that draft. It's just about finished.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, thank you. We'll move over to Mrs. Ito.
Good evening. We are heading into our third year of the Connecticut Special Education Data System, otherwise known as CT-SEDS. As a reminder, this system is a platform that assists planning and placement teams as well as 504 teams in writing these plans. The platform also allows parents and guardians to view their child's IEP or Section 504 plan. Parents have access to the portal to sign documents and view reports and other documents related. Questions regarding the parent portal should be directed to the child's school, but of course, I'm here to support any questions or concerns as well. As you may recall, Orange Rotary provided the school system with $15,000 to support the social emotional needs of our students during the latter part of last year and into the beginning of this year. These funds are used to support students and families in the areas of anxiety, toxic stress, and bereavement. The district has also provided professional learning around the use of the critical thinking triangle to help students use their language skills to strengthen their problem-solving approach. We use funds to co-sponsor a family event at the end of last school year,
And this year, our district school social worker and one of our school psychologists will be offering after-school support once again to provide support related to anxiety, stress, and bereavement. Finally, funds can be used for supporting individual counseling with an outside provider for families who may lack private insurance for mental health services. And our school-based mental health team would help to identify who those families may be. We continue to benefit from the primary project grant. We're actually going into our 6th year. The primary project grant allows for eligible students in grades K through 3 a play-based way to personally connect to a caring adult. Eligible children are serviced by child associates who are overseen by our school social worker and in conjunction with school psychologists. Teachers will share their recommendation for primary project at the upcoming conferences, and invitations will go out soon. The 1 through 3 students are expected to begin the program in the beginning of November, with our kindergarten building being identified in January, giving them some time to get settled into the school year, and services beginning in February for our K students. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Mrs. Ito? Betty?
I'm happy to hear that the state system is finally, it sounds like it's totally operational.
Well, pretty close. I mean,
I mean,
It's pretty functional.
Are parents comfortable with it?
yes, yeah, I'm finding that parents are finding it pretty user-friendly, easy to sign a document electronically.
And
then
to actually
submit it.
review to see that what the IEP, if there's any updates, they're all being included in that and
Correct.
uploaded.
Yes.
Yes. That's good to hear, because I remember it
Yes.
was pretty shaky there.
Oh, yeah.
For a while. And also, you talked about the social worker and the psychologist having an outreach program.
Mm-hmm.
Is that on the website? I mean, how would parents know about that? Is that only because they're reaching out to certain people, or is it a general
That
thing?
is a really great question, Betty. We talked about the school-based team reviewing together with the principal, the teachers, school psychologist, social worker, and identifying students, but also, to your point, sometimes there are children who may need services that we don't know about. One of the concerns is that the cohort needs to be very small in order to have it an effective impact on the children's group, so that what they were going to do is vet through the school team first, invite those families, and if they needed to identify more children, they would then discuss as a school-based team what would be the best way to outreach to families to see if they were missing anyone.
All right, so you're saying it's invitation only.
That's correct.
I guess I'm a little sorry to hear that. I
Yeah.
think that reaching out to the general public or the general school community would be the way to go, and you just have to have more small groups, but I understand
the
that
funding only,
I'm saying,
yeah.
the funding is limited, I understand that. But,
But we invited everyone over the summer to participate in services that was not an invitation only. So we do continue to offer opportunities for families to reach out and engage their children in this type. But this particular focus group, so like bereavement, for example, is very specific to children who have lost a very close family
right,
member.
well, that one I can
So,
see
yeah.
is, you can obviously find that one out, but for
Yeah.
anxiety and whatnot, that
Right.
seems to be a more
But
general
actually,
malaise.
even the bereavement, I used a very personal experience, why the school might not have known about the loss the child had experienced,
Yeah.
but may be affecting the child. So we have been in discussion about how we can identify children that we might not know about as we continue to explore ways to reach out to families. But thank you, Betty.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? No? Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to board business. Item 1 is board elections. As you may recall, board elections are done biannually in December, which happened to occur last year. Now that Mr. Kraut, who was the exiting board chair, was appointed to the Board of Selectmen, an election needs to be held in order to fill the position of chair. At this time, I will turn the meeting over to Dr. Scarpetti to conduct the election process.
Thank you, and before I do, Mr. Cap, Mrs. Messina Mullen, I believe, is correct with regards to, you win a prize. It is November 8th at 9 a.m. Thank you for the principals watching at home and sending me the information. So we'll send an email to all of you, but I don't want to confuse anyone at home. So Racebrook School is Friday, November 8th, and then Turkey Hill and Peck is November 11th at 9. So thank you for bringing that up, Mrs. Messina Mullen. Okay, so on to the board elections. So as Mr. Cap just shared, because of the absence of the chair position, we are going to have an election for board chair. Depending on how that falls out, we might have to have election for other officers. So what occurs is on your desk, you should have a blue ballot for chair. So if you just take a moment and make sure you have that. If you don't, Darlene will get you a ballot. And I'm just going to read this just so you're aware of how we do this. We'll start with the nomination. Any member may nominate any other member. Any member may nominate him or herself. Nominations do not require seconds. There's no limit to the number of people who may be nominated for an office. When there are no more nominations, the nominations are closed and the election will take place. The election rules require that a winning candidate must have the majority of the eligible votes casted. If in the course of the election for any of the officers, no one candidate gets a majority of the eligible votes casted, the voting is repeated until one candidate gets the majority of eligible votes cast, or a candidate withdraws. If the board was to reach a complete stalemate and no candidate was able to receive the majority of eligible votes, a motion can be made to suspend the election for that office, and the first selectman will appoint a Board of Education member to that office. Are there any questions? Is there anything that any board members would like me to read over?
That's a perfect example of complex oral language to be processed.
So I will begin by opening for chair. Are there any nominations for chair? Ms. Riccio? So we have a nomination for Ms.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Cap. He is our longest-sitting board chair. He's,
Right now, we're just taking nominations. No statements, please.
you don't want, I don't get to
No,
talk about
no,
him?
we're just taking,
Come on.
this is a nomination.
I nominate Jeff.
So, any other nominations for chair? Mrs. Hadlock?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Mr. Zyman for the board chair.
Currently, we have two nominations on the floor, Mr. Cap and Mr. Zyman.
Excuse me. On behalf of my wife, I would like to ask, why our names are on the ballots?
Why the names are on the ballot?
Why our name? Everybody, we each have our name on our
That's the
ballot.
process that's been stipulated
Well, it's
since we've,
dumb. I mean, it's supposed to be a secret ballot.
It's not a secret ballot.
I guess not.
It's a public. No, it always has been public.
I mean, then why don't we just do it by hand?
We could.
Be a lot easier, I think. As long as it's not secret, and I appreciate that, but I'm more than happy to.
well, let me get
back
back to the first question. If you want to withdraw your name, that's another piece. But for the rest of the board members, ever since I've been here, this is the process that we've followed with regards to the rules and regulations and also having their names that registered. We don't read out all the names.
Okay.
I don't know if is there any procedural piece that we have to have that documented, if there's a question after the vote?
No, that's fine.
Okay. So we currently have for chair, Mr. Cap and Mr. Zyman.
Yeah, I'm going to withdraw.
You're withdrawing your name.
Yes, thank you.
I'll arm wrestle.
Okay. No. It's always worked very well. It's been unanimous, so I'm more than happy
all right,
to
so-
to do that.
Right now, is there any other nominations besides Mr. Cap?
So I apologize, I do have a quick question. So are board members only allowed to vote for people that are nominated?
Correct.
Yes, thank you for that explanation.
Okay? So if you wouldn't mind, again, if there's no other nominations, if you could cast your vote, please, and once completed, Darlene, if you wouldn't mind collecting those votes.
Thank you. I think you made the right choice. Yeah, well, thank you. I was going to do that.
Congratulations, Mr. Cap. You know, you are the new chair of the Orange Board of Education. Now, since Mr. Cap was sitting as vice chair, we have vice chair that's opened. Do I need to read the?
Oh.
That's fine. Yep. So with that, do I need to read the procedure for anyone?
No, probably not.
And then, so now I'm looking for nominations for vice chair. Do I have any nominations for vice chair? Mrs. Hadlock?
I would like to nominate Susan Ricchio.
We have one nomination for Susan Ricchio. Ms. James?
I'd like to nominate Tatiana Messina Mullen.
We have a nomination for Mrs. Messina Mullen. Do we have any other nominations on the floor? So at this time, if there are no other nominations, you will have a green ballot for vice chair. And if you could please cast your votes, and then Darlene will come by and get that and count that up and see who we have as vice chair.
Just for fun, I'll put your name down again.
So Tatiana Messina Mullen has the majority of the votes. So Tatiana Messina Mullen is the new vice chair of the Board of Ed. And that ends the nominations at this point, because Ms. Riccio is the current secretary of the board, and therefore will remain as secretary. So that ends the election of the board members. Thank you for your votes and nominations, and I now bring the meeting back to the new board chair, Mr. Cap.
Okay, thank you for that. We will move on to board business item number 2. Discussion and possible action of the 2025 Board of Education meeting dates. Everyone should have received in their board packet the meeting dates for the 2025 year. Does anyone have any discussion about the dates? Yeah.
The last date is January 20, 2025. Is that a mistype?
Oh, it should be 26.
That should be a 26. That was a good catch, Carmen.
No, I just was hoping it was the day before.
Any other questions, comments?
We don't have a year for the May 19th, but we know it's 25.
May 19th, the 5 is missing. Second good catch. That's why we're doing this.
Are we okay to vote on it like this, or do we need to?
Dr. Scarpetti, do we actually have to vote on the meeting dates?
You do have to vote on the meeting dates. We'll make the corrections, but we could vote with those corrections.
Okay, all right,
I have a question.
sure, go ahead.
So have these meeting, the meeting dates don't conflict with any holidays that we currently have?
Typically, they don't and will not. You'll notice, I know that there are some dates that you'll see that, how come it's not the third Monday? And it's, has to do because of a holiday, and that's why it's not. But we typically follow the third Monday of every month, unless it's impacted by a holiday that week. We have to make that arrangement.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the calendar for our meeting dates then? And so then we can go ahead and take a vote on it. Would someone like to make a motion? Carmen? Do I have a second? Ken? Any other further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Okay, looks unanimous on that, so the motion will pass. Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item number 3. Policy, second read, Orange Board of Education Policy 5131.81, electronic devices. Do I have a motion to accept the Orange Board of Ed Policy 5131.81, electronic devices? Do I motion, Susan? Do I have a second? Ronette? Did you have a question, or was it a second? Okay, okay, that's fine. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? You got that? Okay. Okay, moving on to number 4, policy, second read, Orange Board of Education, policy 5132, dress code. Do I have a motion to accept the Orange Board of Ed policy 5132, dress code? Tatiana, do I have a second? Betty, any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Got that? Moving on to number 5, policy, second read, Orange Board of Ed policy 5142, student safety. Do I have a motion to accept the Orange Board of Ed policy 5142, student safety? Anthony, second. Ronette, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? You got all of them? Okay. Number 6, policy second read, Orange Board of Education, policy 6130, organizational plan. Do I have a motion to accept the Orange Board of Ed policy 6130, organizational plan? Motion. Susan, second. Liz, any discussion from anyone? No? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Okay, good. Okay. The following policies will be second reads at our next Board of Ed meeting next month. Policy first read, Orange Board of Ed Policy 4134, personal certified tutoring. Policy first read, Orange Board of Ed Policy 6162.3, instruction testing program. Then I think it should be a number 9. There is a 9 here, hold on one second. I got it. Orange Board of Ed Policy 6180, evaluation of district programs and strategic plan. And that would be it for those, and this is 10. Okay. Moving on to item number 10, discussion and possible action on approving a successor collective bargaining agreement with the Paraprofessional Secretaries Union, CSEA, SEIU, Local 2001 Administrative Assistants and Paraprofessionals. I will be looking for a motion to enter into executive session after the standing committees and ACES report, after everyone gives their reports. So we will move over into standing committees. And our first one will be Finance and Operations, Mrs. Riggio. Ms. Riggio.
The Finance Subcommittee met prior to this meeting. We reviewed the financials. Christine was with us and shared with us some the current finances. Everything is in order. We're still within budget. We reviewed the cafeteria numbers. We also discussed briefly on the grants that I'm going to go over since Mr. Gray wasn't here. We have fully used the ARPA Right to Read grant of $79,000. That was our allocation. We've fully used that. We also are spending down the summer mental health grant, which is actually fully spent. It will be it was already allocated, and the remaining will be paid in October, so we'll see that as a 0 next month. The DSPP, DEMHS School Security Grant of $61,000 about is still fully remaining. That was to update our camera systems at all 4 schools. The Connecticut High Dosage Tutoring Grant has been fully used, the $156,000. The Primary Mental Health Grant of $20K, we've spent $3,763, and there is currently $16,237 to use. And then the ARPA School Mental Health Specialist Grant was of $92,000 approximately. We've spent so far $15,000, and that one was with hiring a school mental health specialist, and we still have about roughly $77,000 remaining. Those are the grants so far, and that's it for finance.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Betty?
What was that second to last one? That was for mental health, and we still have
That's one for the mental health specialist.
no, not the one that we're paying we have a new position for. The one before that,
Oh,
I
the
think was.
primary mental health grant.
That one.
That one's for K-3 early detection intervention programs for emotional, behavioral, and learning problems.
Okay, all right. That could not be parlayed into this other money we're talking about, no, because it's very specifically delineated. Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to check. I didn't hear that part. Thank you.
No problem.
Anyone else? No? Okay, we'll move on to Personnel Policy Transportation, Mrs. Hadlock.
Yes, good evening. Due to my being out of town on the last Monday of September, our entire committee did not meet, as I had stated at our last Board of Ed meeting. But Dr. Scarpetti and I did meet last week, and we reviewed the current policies that are listed as first reads on this agenda, due to the fact that I think there's 3 of them. Basically, the major change was the policy date had not been listed when we decided on these policies, so we put them up as first reads, and our committee will meet on October 28th, the last Monday of the month, to look at some other policies that need more consideration and looking into and discussion. I want to thank Anthony and other board members who reached out to me about the current policies that we did approve tonight, and I encourage anyone who has any questions to reach out to me and/or Dr. Scarpetti and Mr. Kapp anytime you have questions, and to remember that when you look at the policies that you receive online, the yellow is new things, the white is original, and any cross-outs mean they're things that we're going to take out. So please reach out to me, and I appreciate people when you do that. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any questions? Nope. Okay, moving over to Buildings and Grounds, we did not meet either. But Buildings and Grounds, now that I am chair, we will be replacing the chair for Buildings and Grounds. So that is something we will be working on, but I don't have any further updates on Buildings and Grounds at this time. So we will move over to Curriculum, Instruction, Technology, Mr. Zyman.
I'm going to pick up from where Dr. Scarpetti left off with our field trip to Hartford. Dr. Russo made the presentation and explained what we are doing in Orange and why we feel we should be exempt from having to scrap our K-3 curriculum and reading program to adopt one from the state. I thought Dr. Russo's presentation was excellent. I can only hope it mattered. Sadly, I'm not sure it did. They were respectful and pleasant, but not nearly as impressed as they should have been. Honestly, as educators, they should have at the very least, oh, I knew this was going to happen. They should have at the very least, 1 second, be right back. They should have at the very least given Drs. Scarpetti and Russo a standing ovation, but they didn't. They remained seated and composed. The leader, Dr. Hugh, said they were meeting with the few districts that weren't completely in compliance. To review, an oxymoronic situation has brought politics into the classroom. The original stated goal, according to Eric Scoville, a State Department of Education spokesman, had been to ensure all districts were using a curriculum that is evidence-based, scientifically researched, and focused on competency in a number of areas, including phonemic awareness and phonics. It wasn't stated this way, but it was actually going to make other districts more like Orange. Sadly, that good concept has been left behind. Unless our waiver request is accepted, I'm afraid many of the wonderful achievements that our school system has accomplished in the last 9 to 10 years were going to be put aside, and we'd be forced to start over with a new curriculum. Anyway, that's where we are now. As Mary Welander said, both sides are dug in. We await the determination by the State Board of Education. Stay tuned. And I'd just like to thank Mary Welander for being there.
Thank you, Mr. Zyman. Does anyone have any questions?
Did they give us any indication on when we might hear?
They did not make any decisions. One of the things that they expressed is communication. So one of the things we are going to be doing is probably creating a update of sorts to share what we've done and continue to do. I also expressed, as I have in the past, an open invitation to visit our district at any time at their convenience to do so. But there was no indication of moving it. Just the theme I get is if you're not choosing a, thank you, I don't know if you're Dr. Russo, but she said a box program, you know, they keep on pushing. So no matter what grant a school's for, It's just basically pushing them to go for a box program. So, but they did not say anything one way or another that they want to hear us, listen to us. And again, I want to thank Representative Wheelander because she was a key point of having that meeting and going up to the state.
Did they offer any feedback at all?
None.
None. They just listened and thanked you for your time.
Yeah. And thank you for bringing that up because that was one of the expectations we were supposed to receive is feedback of where they fell short or where we fell short in their eyes.
Anyone else?
Just that I don't believe there's anything they can say. I think this has become, like I said, political. And I'm sure that they feel, if, it's the same thing. If somebody gets it, then somebody else is going to go, well, wait a minute, you say we couldn't. But they have no reason to do this at all in our case, absolutely none. So I apologize. It's not your fault, but I feel badly for you because this is a wonderful program, and they simply want to take it away. And I apologize to the teachers. The teachers have worked so hard on this. The teachers have bought into this so completely. My fear is that we'll never get the teachers back completely. They can never be as enthusiastic and committed as they have been to this program to try and start over again.
Any other comments? No? Okay, let's move over to ACES. Ms. Riccio.
So ACES met last Thursday, October 10th, at our SDA building. A few things that are salient to our group here is we did have an overview of our special ed schools that ACES offers. I do have a book. I will pass it either direction. Well, I'll pass it one direction, then I'll have to come back. But it talks about each of the schools. And if you're interested, I do have an extra copy, so if somebody wants this, they can have it. But it talks about the different services ACES provides here. ACES provides as well as all of our schools. We've asked the director of ACES, Tom Danahy, to please present to our board a lot about each of the special ed schools specifically to start, and then start talking about some of the services we provide to districts as well as some services that we just provide to the general community as a whole. For example, like language services. We predominantly offer them to schools, but we do offer them to commercial entities as well. So there's international programs, there's the BCBAs that come out to our districts. There's a lot of things there. But we had, this past Thursday, a fairly detailed information about our schools for students on the autism spectrum and those with intellectual disabilities. And Mrs. Tagliatella did a fantastic job of sharing the information to us. We also had an update on our buildings that are undergoing lots of construction. Wintergreen Schools on track and on budget. We're looking for the work to start in January. Our special ed school at Bassett Road is also currently on schedule. ACES at Chase is a little bit behind schedule due to some of the ADA things that we need to get done, and we're not certain that how they're going to get done. So we're working with some additional construction and architecture people to make sure that there's, say, certain hallways are wide enough for a student in a wheelchair, even though they don't currently have it. We still need to make sure that it's there. And certain elevators that have to go in that would, again, have to be able to accommodate a certain number of people. We're having some issues with that, but it'll work itself out. We have some options. It may be a little over budget, but we're doing good on it. So, and then we also have a couple of properties that are for sale that we don't need anymore since have shifted some of the students to Leader Hill. And so we did go into an executive session to discuss the real estate matter. There's no decision yet, so it's not, I just wanted, it was on there as on our agenda. We also talked about our executive director's goals, as well as we did vote and pass the policy for ACES on progressive discipline of employees so that the administrators know what's expected, people know what's expected. It's really focused on confidential data is really one of the things, but it also has to do with HIPAA things and things of that nature. So that particular piece was passed. That's about it.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Ken?
Not a question, I'd just like to compliment ACES on their choice of chairperson for the governing board.
Thank you so much.
Anyone else? No? Okay. So we are going to go into executive session. I'm looking for a motion for the Orange Board of Education to enter into executive session to discuss the strategy and possible settlement of successor collective bargaining agreement with administrative assistants and paraprofessionals in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes Sections 1-206E and 1-210B9. The board further invites into executive session the following individuals, and I would ask Dr. Scarpetti to please join us. Would you like to? Thank you. Can I have a motion for that? Betty, a second. Susan? Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Okay, we're going to go into executive session at 8:24. Thank you. Okay, we're out of executive session at 8:35. The Orange Board of Education hereby moves that it shall provide funding for and that otherwise approves and adopts the tentative agreement for a successor collective bargaining agreement with the Para-Educators and Secretaries Union, CSEA, SEIU Local 2001, for the period of July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2027, including all agreements set forth in the tentative agreement. The board further delegates to the board chair the authority to, in directive, to sign the final and binding contract document on behalf of the board. This approval is contingent upon the union also approving the tentative agreement and executing the final contract document prior to the board chair signing such final contract document. Do I have a motion to approve this tentative agreement? Ronette, do I have a second? Okay, Liz, any discussion? All in favor? No. Keep your hands up, so,
Thank you.
Susan.
Yep, it's unanimous.
Okay, so that is unanimous. Okay, thank you. And adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? Ken, do I have a second? Susan, any discussion? Yes. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. Meeting has ended at 8:37. Thank you all.